Hi guys, so today we're going to talk about side hustles. We're going to talk about being an entrepreneur or running a small business, how you can be profitable while having these things at your disposal. So let's first talk about defining what is a side hustle, what is a freelancer, what is an entrepreneur, or running a small business. So a freelancer, not a freelancer. Let's start about side hustle. So a side hustle is something that you do on the side that produces revenue that edifies to your main income. So you must probably be someone that has a main income and doing something on the side to generate more revenue to edify your income that you're earning. So most of these things, it could be like selling perfumes, selling inuka, it could be like selling anything that is out there that you're selling. Can be being someone who's an ambassador for something, a spokesperson. It could be you offering a certain service to others, like you an IT person, and then after work you're offering extra IT assistant to different people or different entities. So it's something that you do on the side outside your main salary. And then what is a freelancer? A freelancer is someone that earns money based on the service that they provide. This is based on project to project basis. So basically I earn income by the service that I provide to certain things, then I earn money based on that project. It could be a 6 month project, it could be a 1 month project, it could be anything. So in freelancers, mostly influencers, actors, mostly they fall on this part because it's like they're given a gig for 6 months to play in an acting gig or to be an ambassador for certain things or to appear in a certain show. So it's a freelance job. So after they provided whatever service they needed to do, then they earn money. Same thing as consulting. It could be offering extra services after work as an accountant, or you're offering IT solutions to anyone else. You're maybe a doctor who's offering a home visit after work. So it could be anything. It could be anything as a freelancer. But no, not the doctor part. The doctor part, you normally, if you are a doctor and you have 9 to 5 and then you're offering other home-to-home visit, then you're still doing it as a side hustle. Unless you're doing it as a full-time thing, then you are falling under being a freelancer. So basically, a freelancer is when you leave your main salary and focus on your side hustle, and it becomes a full-time thing where you get money based on the project that you provide. Then an entrepreneur or running a small business. An entrepreneur is someone who sees an opportunity out there and then decided to create a company out of the opportunity that they saw in the market. This also starts very small. Sometimes it can start as you offering doing people's hair, and then eventually you open your own salon, and then where you offer these things full time. So you saw an opportunity, maybe you're in mid-rent, and then you saw, but okay, in the mall of A there's no salon here, but I can offer a salon there, and then you open a business out of that. So it is that opportunity that can do. So entrepreneurship normally leads to mega businesses. Sometimes an entrepreneur can be a small business, it can be macro business, or it can lead to a bigger entity. Like take Batu Shoe, for instance. The guy started saw an opportunity for a great sneaker, and then he started that, as small as it might be, started by selling it and started by becoming a freelancer afterwards, and then eventually it started becoming a small business. After a small business, it started to be a macro business. After becoming a macro business, I believe now it is a bigger entity. So that is what an entrepreneurship is. So how do you ensure that you get this the right way the first time? Because your side hustle normally leads to all of these three things. Your side hustle normally leads, after being a side hustle, leads it to being your main salary, and you're offering this as a freelancer. From a freelancer, you move sometimes internally to running it as a small or macro business. So all of this, you have to get it right financially the first time, because it's hard to see your side hustle becoming a mega business if you don't track your financials of it. So get it right the first time. So how do you get it right the first time? So under side hustle, let's talk about side hustle first. So if you are under side hustle, you're still doing a side hustle. And then the main problem that people do when they're running a side hustle is running their side hustle using their main bank account. So basically in this main bank account, you're receiving your salary, and also you're receiving the income that you get from your side hustle. This is a bit tricky because now you don't normally able to track exactly your profitability of your side hustle, because it's mixed up with your salary and you don't know exactly how much profit you are making from a side hustle. So do this right. How do you do it right? By making sure that you create an entity. Go and register an entity for your side hustle. Register it in the CIPC and your side hustle as an entity. You can run it with a name, you can run it without a name. There's many options, but the main thing of this is for you to create an account for your entity, where this account you will use it for your income, for your expenditure, and this is able to track your spending of your company. That is doing it the right way. So you're doing it the right way, and it also protects you as well. So how does this protect you? So now you are running this entity as a side hustle, you separate it from your income. So the mistake, if let's say you were running it as if you are running it on a personal basis. So let's say your income and the tax bracket is on the 300,000, but then your business is making 120,000 a year. So if you put that 120,000 and add it to the 300,000, it increases your revenue. So hence why it increases the revenue that you will be taxed on by SARS. So basically it increases your bracket. So you'll be paying more tax if you are using your personal account to run your side hustle. But if you're running your side hustle on as an entity, you're supposed to pay what? An income tax. So now SARS is saying if your side hustle is making less than 70,700 a year, you are not eligible to pay the income tax. So meaning you can avoid the income tax altogether if your company is making 70,700 per year. That is your side hustle that you're running. But if your side hustle earns more than that, then you can pay income tax. If it's maybe 100,000 that you make on a side hustle per year, or 150,000 that you make, then you can pay a little bit of income tax. And then do by all means, if your company does earn more than 70,700, do consider consulting an accountant or a tax practitioner in this regard, so that you are protected against any law of SARS that you may miss in this thing. So you have to consult so that you ensure that you pay the right amount to SARS. Okay, now that you're running your entity as an entity and you're running it, so you're running your side hustle as an entity, another important point that you should do for your side hustle, now that you run it as an use an accounting software. Tell you why you should use an accounting software. An accounting software, it helps to track exactly how much you make per month, how much you make per year, how much you make each and every financial year. So you can be able to know how much tax you should pay to SARS. Because accounting software, it tracks all of the above. It tracks your revenue, it tracks your expenditures, it tracks when you are overspending, it tracks when you are making less revenue, it tracks all of those things so that you can go back to your drawing board and change the dynamics of your business and change the dynamics of how you run a side hustle. And this is becoming very bit hard to analyze if you are using your own bank account, because your bank account is your salary plus all this side hustle income, and then the only thing you have is your bank that you need to track. And remember, if the money is in the bank, you may use it for whatever, so you aren't able very much correctly to track exactly how much you're making in the business. So hence why it's very, very important to use to register as an entity, and what makes it more easier to run and manage your finances without you having to worry and say, oh, I don't know how much I spent. Use an accounting software. Very, very important to use an accounting software. There are cheaper softwares that you can use. Mostly your QuickBooks are very, very cheap to use. Your Sage, very, very cheap. There's different packages that you can use. Very, very reasonable when you're running your side hustle. Also, is it Zerorex or something? It's SESO. Don't know how to pronounce it. So very, very reasonable software to run with, and very, very user friendly. All these 3 ones. There are many others out there, but I know these 3 ones. I've worked with all these 3 ones, and very, very user friendly. So they're not very complicated. You create an invoice, you pay an expense in the same software, and when you link it to your bank account, automatically when you pay expense, that expense is created in the system, so you can always see it. So very, very friendly usually. Very, very friendly user. So the advantage of using accounting software is this thing is so easy to track because your bank is attached to that. You create an invoice, all of this you create in this app. So very, very easy to manage and run with. And 2, it able to track your tax as well, so you know how much you need to pay to SARS, and you know how much you need to save every month for SARS. 2, it helps you to manage your expenses and your revenue, and then you can easily track all of those things without having to go and sit for 3 hours and do a spreadsheet. But an accounting software, it tracks this automatically for you. So do use an accounting software. And then I don't know which number I'm on, but another useful thing that you should do when running a side hustle, I mentioned one is create it as an entity so that you can see the advantage of tax that you can get. Use an accounting software. And number 2, always track your expenses. Track, so that you can be able to see if your company is profitable or not. And then under entrepreneurship and under freelancer, the same thing that I mentioned, it applies to all 3 of to the below as well. The nice thing that you get as a freelancer if you are using an accounting software is that you are able to check how much tax you need to pay to SARS, how much you should save every month that's going to tax, because the accounting software, it will tell you income when you in your income statement, it will tell you provisional tax is this much. Then you know that you need to save that amount every month, so that when the time for you to submit to SARS, you can be able to pay that. So as a freelancer, it helps, genuinely helps you to track how much you're supposed to pay for SARS every financial year as a freelancer, and as a small business as well, because most of the time we use all the money that we get and all the time. So please, it also helps you to track how much you need to pay to SARS. So now this system under freelancer and running a small business, it opens another SARS bracket, which is VAT returns. So now you may ask, when do I pay VAT? When do I register for VAT so that I can pay to SARS? So normally SARS says that you can pay VAT when your company is making more than 1 million revenue. So guys, remember me, it says revenue. So revenue is based only on your sales, not after you deducted expenses. Revenue. So only on what you received, not after you deducted your expenses, right? So on your revenue. So if your company is making, or your small business, or your micro business is making more than 1 million a year, then you need to register for SARS. And then it says that But if you're making more than 50,000 a year, you are eligible to register for SARS. I would advise that a person who's running a side hustle, even if they're making the 50,000 a year, maybe not to do the VAT registration as yet until they become a freelancer, maybe until they become a small business owner, because it becomes easier. But if you register and you're still running it as a small business, it becomes a little bit complicated. That's when you would definitely need a tax practitioner to help you in that regard. So I would say try to avoid it if you're still running it as a side hustle and you're still not making more than 1 million a month. But if you're a freelancer and you are a small business owner or micro business owner who is making 1 million, do register for VAT so that you can pay. So why does SARS say you can register when your entity is making more than 50,000 a year for VAT? So the thing why is because regardless whether you register for VAT or not, you are paying VAT out there. So basically, every time you work with a supplier that is VAT registered, everybody who's VAT registered, every supplier that you use, you pay VAT. So meaning you're not claiming that VAT that you're paying out to people if you're not VAT registered. Hence why SARS is giving you the lineage to say if you're making 50,000 or more, you can definitely register so that you can claim all the VAT that you're putting out there. But then it changed the dynamics. So now every money that you make, you need to pay to SARS. But every money comes into your account, and then SARS charge 15% of it. But every money you pay out to a supplier reduces that 50% that you need to pay to SARS. So you can be able to claim VAT returns to SARS. So that's why SARS want us to be registered at 50, because you don't want to waste all the money that you're paying out to all the suppliers and not claim that VAT back. So be VAT registered after you made 50,000 or more in your business, so that you can be able to get that advantage of claiming the VAT returns. Oh, another point that I do not want to forget, that you see the point where it says pay yourself salary? Very true. I know it's not what we want to hear, but very, very true. Very, very imperative that you ensure that you pay yourself a salary, because it is going to be pointless if you're running a side hustle and yet take the whole amount and transfer it to your main account and then use it. Then that means that money is still going to be taxable. But if you say you pay yourself a salary, it's a little bit portion of what you earn from your side hustle. So remember why we say pay a cycle: for your business to grow, for your business to see the growth and reinvest in itself. You need to ensure that the money that the business makes, you save it and you use the advantage of running an entity, because there is better saving options that you get when you are running a business. So you use that opportunity to get better investment option when you're running an entity, to invest so that your business grows and grows and grows and grows. I would rather even say that if you are a person who's running a side hustle, use your side hustle money to use it as a saving option for yourself. Maybe use your own income for expenses and everything, and then use the money that you get from a side hustle to save, because there is better options there. So please do pay yourself a salary and use your side hustle or your freelancing job to use it as a saving option. And then the nice thing also about running, especially for freelancers and micro businesses, is that there is insurance that protects their income. So please do register your entities, whatever you're running, whatever service that you're offering. Register it as an entity, because there is insurance that you can use to protect yourself against any profit loss, against any salary loss, against anyone that you need to do in your business, against your assets, against everything. So there is more protection, there's more insurance available when you're running your side hustle or your business as an entity, because there is insurances that you can put in place to protect yourself against any profit loss, to protect yourself against your salary loss, especially if you do have like 2 people or 3 people that you employed in your entity, so to help you out. So that those things that protect you, there is protection against those things. So that's the also advantage of ensuring that you run your business or your side hustle or your freelance jobs as an entity, not as an individual. So guys, I hope everybody can create an entity for their side hustle, for their freelancing jobs, for their entrepreneur or their small businesses, so that they can see the profitability of their entity. And that is how we all become financially smart. Bye for now.